Asia. Good evening, America. You're watching World DNA with me, Jyotsna Kumar.
And I'm Kripa, and coming up on the show today, Israel and Hezbollah continue to exchange fire, while Iran maintains that the two-week ceasefire includes Lebanon. We get you all these latest on that front on the show today. Stay tuned.
And also on the show, we also delve more on the naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz ordered by U.S. President Donald Trump after failed U.S.-Iran talks in Islamabad. We'll get you all details on that, all the developments from West Asia and more across the world. Let's begin with the headlines.
I think Iran is in very bad shape. I think they're very desperate. We had a meeting that lasted 21 hours. We understand.
U.S. President Donald Trump says he doesn't care if Iran comes back to negotiate after talks in Pakistan failed to produce a deal.
Iran's Navy chief calls U.S. President Trump's threat to blockade Hormuz ridiculous, says the country's forces are monitoring and supervising all movements of the American army.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says war in Lebanon will continue. Fresh airstrikes on southern Lebanese town of Marub kills 4.
Easter truce between Russia and Ukraine formally expires, with both sides accusing each other of thousands of violations along the front line.
Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban concedes defeat after 16 years in power. The Conservative Peter Magyar winning a thumping majority in parliamentary elections. Celebrations across Budapest.
Peru to reopen some polls on Monday as the electoral authority says over 60,000 people were unable to vote due to logistical and coordination failures.
U.S. Representative Eric Swalwell suspends his campaign for California governor as he faces sexual assault allegations.
Oil prices surged sharply as stalled Iran-US talks and export blockades threaten prolonged disruptions to West Asian energy flows. Brent crude nears $103 and US crude rises above $104, while the dollar strengthens amid rising geopolitical tensions and investor demand for safer assets.
The U.S. military has said that it would begin a blockade of all Iranian ports hours after collapse of talks.
This comes as Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said that Tehran was just inches away from a deal with Washington in Islamabad.
The U.S. Central Command announced that the blockade will be enforced impartially against vessels of foreign nations entering or departing Iranian ports and coastal areas, including all Iranian ports on the Arabian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. Now, the statement said that the restrictions will come into effect at 10 a.m. Eastern Time.
The U.S. Central Command clarified that it would not impede vessels transiting the Strait of Hormuz to and from non-Iranian ports, and that further instructions for mariners would be forthcoming.
Iran's Revolutionary Guards have declared that they are in full control of traffic through Hormuz and warned that they would trap any challenger in a deadly vortex.
The announcement came despite a ceasefire in place that is aimed at pausing the 6-week war until April 22, with tensions centered on whether the U.S. can force Iran to reopen the strategic Strait of Hormuz, another of its key demands in the stalled negotiations. Washington has even put the onus of failed talks on Islamic Republic's refusal to abandon its nuclear ambitions.
Now, earlier Trump warned that the naval blockade against Iran is imminent. Trump also said that he expects Iranians to return to the bargaining table and give U.S. everything it seeks. Upon his arrival at the Joint Base Andrews, Trump suggested that Iran is in very bad shape and is desperate.
I think Iran is in very bad shape. I think they're very desperate. We had a meeting that lasted 21 hours. We understand the situation better than anybody, and Iran's in very bad shape. Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. We'll not have. There is no way that they're going to get. They still want it, and they made that clear the other night. Iran will not have a nuclear weapon.
Well, Iran's Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, who led Tehran's delegation in Pakistan, said on returning home that the country would not bow to any threats from Washington, while Navy Chief Shahram Irani called Trump's blockade threat ridiculous.
Meanwhile, Indian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said that Iran engaged with U.S. in good faith to end the war, but encountered maximalism, shifting goalposts and blockade.
Well, the two sides also failed to reach agreement on the U.S. demand that Iran cease funding for Hamas, Hezbollah and the Houthis, as well as fully open the Strait of Hormuz. On the other hand, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance arrived back in the United States after leading the U.S. delegation in marathon talks with Iran.
Now, U.S. officials said Iran had rejected Washington's call for an end to all uranium enrichment, the dismantling of all major enrichment facilities, and the transfer of highly enriched uranium.